Rahul, congratulations. You have a show in Paris in the next few weeks. I'm sure you're excited and stressed at the same time. Big show after Comme des Garçons, great placement. Congratulations for that. International Bullmark Prize. Lots of interesting things going on. I'd like to you to talk about collaboration with your workers, because reverse migration is something that you've been quite passionate about, and I think the people who put together all the garments that you create are equally collaborators, if not more.
Today only in the morning I got a message from my wife, and I was like, when I landed from flight, it's a WhatsApp message which has a quote by Ratan Tata where he says that if you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, walk together. So something like that was like so important altogether. Looking at how we all work as a team, ultimately it's a teamwork. We have got like, obviously this prize, Woolmark prize, or whatever we are showcasing at Paris Fashion Week, is the strength of India which comes from villages of India. How like we all are, I'm sure most of us in Design Factory, we are working with weavers, we are working with everything. But one of very important thing which we started with Woolmark prize when we were making those clothes is like from slums of Dharavi and slums of Gandhinagar and all that. We got some people, around 100 people, go back to the village, and where we are able to create all the handwork embroidery which is not dependent on power supply electricity. They create entire work for us, and we are able to do like quite a good job in terms of supplies all across the globe, and very happy. And I think my Paris Fashion Week, which is on 3rd, is going to be again a reflection of the amazing potential what villages of our country they have got to offer to us.
And what you were able to do is actually move people from quite difficult conditions in the city where they were forced to work back to their villages and give them a much better quality of life by supporting them that way, right?
I really feel like that's what something, if you look at cities, they are very overcrowded today. And that's an unfortunate part also, when 70% of entire GDP, entire earning of India is spent on 30% people who are living in cities. But rest of 70%, how it can go back to village, how we can, again, it goes back to one of my late faculty. I was today also in the morning talking about that, Professor M.P. Ranjan. During NID days, he taught us about not just about designing a product, but probably designing a system, which involves each and every one, which is a participatory exercise. And as I say, rather than designing a product just for consumption, how can we focus on creating a system, or designing a system which can improve participation or collaboration? I think that's what the philosophy of good design is.
Great.
Thank you.
Anand, everybody knows chess is a set. Is it that, or do you have a team and a back end who is critical so that you can do what you do? Just take us through that process.
Yes, it's actually been quite interesting seeing how designers collaborate, because it's very similar in chess. In chess, there's too much material for you to handle yourself. So invariably, you need people who will share the workload with you. If you're going to work with a team, so typically for a World Championship match, I'll have a team of 3 or 4 trainers, and we'll be working 9-hour days for a couple of months, to get all the material ready. And the role of the team is the following. One is simply the sheer workload. So I can do everything, but I don't have that much time. If you spread the work around, it's nice. Second is to give interesting perspectives. Each team member might have noticed something that you hadn't noticed, and they can bring this to your attention. A common misconception is that if you're stronger than them, then what can you learn from them? But I might be stronger than them in over-the-board play. But again, it's a very, very specific skill. But they may have very, very interesting insights. And it comes from their way of thinking, from being different people. Your style of play is so unique to you that you'll miss everything that falls outside that circle. And so it's very useful to collaborate. And Finally, I think the most important quality of a team is to understand how you feel and to create a very comfortable atmosphere for you. So you may want to work with, you will generally want to work with people with whom you get along well, who give you positive feelings. Because if you feel positive and you can carry that feeling into the match, into your games, even into the training, if you bond well, then all that will help you. Your work will be more productive if you all feel good together. So I work a lot with my trainers, my team, and if you don't learn the skill of how to work with the team properly, I'll give you two examples of what that is. The first thing is when you work with a team, you must learn to suppress your initial desire to say something. So if you immediately say, well, I feel this is the strongest move, then this typical thing happens that when they disagree with you, you start becoming defensive about your move. So you got to hold that back. So you have to be open to these different viewpoints when people are trying to tell you something. The second and more important skill is trust. Very often a trainer of mine will tell me something maybe 5 minutes before the game. He'll say, in this position, all you need to remember that this move is good. Go and figure it out. Because there isn't time to give the full briefing. So then when I go to the board, I have to trust him. Because I know that he spent 4 hours last night double checking this. And I cannot, even if I don't believe what he says, I will tell myself, okay, he must have checked it. I will try and figure out what it is he saw. And so these are all the aspects of working in a team that are very important for chess.
How do you select the right people?
I pick people with whom I get along. That's the fundamental quality. You may also look for specific chess skills.
Yeah.
So I will look for people who plug specific gaps in my own chess understanding. So there are things I do very well, and there are things I don't do well. And even in the things I do well, there are people who do that better than me. And the things I do badly, there are people who do outstandingly. So you try to complement these things. But the most important thing is that they get along with you. And then once you feel that you're good friends, then the knowledge can just go back and forth.
How do you stop yourself from sort of overriding a decision, or ultimately you're the boss. You can take the call, but sometimes maybe you've been proven right in the past, but still you need to keep that ear open. But you feel like you need to do also what you need to do. How do you find that balance?
Well, in chess, there is one fundamental truth, which is that it doesn't matter what the truth is. It only matters what you execute at the board. So even if my second is correct, my trainer is absolutely right. If I don't feel that I can reproduce it at the board, if the calculations are too difficult, if the position doesn't suit my style of play, then I have to reject and I have to say, look, you might be right, but unless I can make this at the board in a way that I feel comfortable with, it's not going to work. And usually my trainers will agree. They'll say, yeah, this doesn't suit your style. We'll drop it. We'll go to the next best thing which will suit your style. And so that is important because in chess is a sport where you get rewarded only for what you do at the board in those 2 hours. It doesn't matter what you do afterwards, before. It doesn't even matter what you think after you've made the move. So it's a very specialized thing. So you have to override with what you're comfortable with. And you learn to manage it. You learn to see when it is your ego speaking, and you learn to see when it is genuinely your humble opinion that this is what you're good at and this is what you're not, and you're the best judge of that, so you can impose your will then. But it's important to, like I say, respect and trust your trainers, because then this back and forth becomes much easier.
Perfect. Thank you. Anurag, similar set of questions to you, because I think that's also relevant. But firstly, tell us a little bit about your influences. Obviously, you are very well versed in not only Indian cinema, but world cinema. Who are some of the people you're looking at today, and why?
My influences have been far too many, in the sense, like I've always been very impressionable, so I get influenced all the time. So, and beginning with, say, for example, as a child, when I would see a Guru Dutt film, and one larger turning point was watching Vittorio De Sica at a festival, And then moving on, I discovered Martin Scorsese too late in life. And ever since then, he's been a big influence. To all the current filmmakers, like today I see, say, for example, a Neeraj Ghewan, who made Masan, or Chaitanya Tamane, who made Coat. Then there's also this movie, Tithi, which I saw, a first-time filmmaker from Karnataka, Ram Reddy. I have never seen a film like that in the last 5 to 6 years. And somebody who can make a movie like that in that little a cost, with a non-actor staying in a village with the villagers, and a film that's so hilarious and it says so much more. So they all influence me. Anybody I'm jealous of, I'm influenced by the same person. So those are my influences. And I feel that, today this morning I was putting up a post and I realized that since last year, there's an Indian movie that won Venice, Court. Consistently at all the major film festivals, one Indian film has won. This morning, another Indian film called Angry Indian Goddesses won the People's Choice Award in Toronto. So every single large festival in the world has had one Indian film winning. And that has never happened in that quantity and that level of competition. So for me, I think all these people are going to be the bigger influencers to me and to every other filmmaker.
Do you believe that creative people have any boundaries?
I think our boundaries are my boundaries are where I just stop walking. In the sense that our boundaries are always external. Our boundaries are, like, in a sense, I will go out and I'll try and break free and I'll try and do anything. And then tomorrow, everything else that my resources and things don't stop to limit me. When I've exhausted them, becomes my boundary for that moment. Otherwise, I think we are limitless in the sense we can possibly do anything. And we have seen that various filmmakers doing that. In our country, we are constantly expanding our boundaries. Because I think from the point when I came into the industry, we had hardly explored anything. And now we are constantly exploring ourselves. And we are constantly trying to create new things and pushing boundaries and kind of expanding them.